bringing in this additional front row player?
Evening and afternoon. No, hello everybody. No, we won't be bringing somebody in until we hear what's the end result of that appeal. We have enough cover. If we really get an injury before Saturday and he's not also not available, then we still have Marco available. So at this stage, we're not getting somebody in.
And you can speak about the ruling. Sorry, if you can just speak about the ruling, or not going to comment on it.
I don't. I have anything to. Obviously, I have my opinion, but that's not important. It's hopefully the result goes Jan Hendrik's way in the appeal, and that's the best we can hope for.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much, Zina. Good afternoon, Rassie and Kenny. I hope you guys are well. Rassie, just talk us through two selections. One, Zachary Porter starting at tight end, and Andre Frank on the bench, please.
Yeah, starting with Andre, maybe I think you could have put him at 22 or 23 if you wanted to, but I think we've chatted a lot about that. He's covering both flank and centre for us, so you can say it's a 5-3 split or a 6-2 split. So yeah, it's maybe just in the moment that when we put the team list out, we just put him there. So yeah, he covers both. So I don't think there's something big to explain there. I think everybody knows how we're trying to work with him. I do think with him covering both centre and loose forward, he'll probably get more in match day 23s, which is great for him. So I hope that explains that. The other one was Zach's start. Yeah, well, there was one of two ways going. Thomas the Two is not available for this game purely because of the Premiership rulings and rest periods and so on. So Thomas is only available next week. And we've got Zach in, and if you can see the guys on the bench is guys who scrum together, Grobbies and Gerard and Wilco is guys who's used to one another, and then giving Zach a chance next to really experienced guys like Malcolm and Ox. Sometimes getting a young guy in like that, they sometimes are fearless and just enjoy the moment. Sometimes putting them on the bench, that sometimes build up the nerve. So we'll see on Saturday if it's the right call or the wrong call. It's definitely a Japanese team that scrummed well against Australia and got 100% of their ball and only gave 1 or 2 penalties away when even Australia had the ball. So it will definitely not be an easy game for him. He's probably one of the few guys in the group that we've had this year that didn't have time to really adapt to all of our plays and the way we train and the way we maul and the way we defend and all those kind of things. So a hell of a lot of information. I guess, you don't want to find that out in the last 20 minutes of the game when you have to win the game. So we just thought starting him with that solid lock pairing behind him, and obviously then have great security on the bench with guys that scrummed together in the past.
Thanks, thanks, Rassie. Thanks, Dudley. Rassie, you touched on it basically now, the challenge of not being able to select some of your players. There's some overseas URC-based players and also the Premiership players. How much of a challenge was it, given you've already put out a team that, I wouldn't say could play in the World Cup final, but could most likely play close to being in a World Cup final tomorrow if that was it. It was a very strong team. How much of a challenge was it?
Not so much. I think it's a very valid question, but it wasn't really a big challenge. We actually organized this game, this extra game against Japan, especially for the guys who plays in the Japanese league, because they would have not played a lot of rugby if they didn't play a lot of test matches for us. And this fixture was organized for them. And I think there's about 11 or 12 guys, if you count Mani as well now, who actually play in the Japanese league. So the plan was always to get these guys, because we found in the past that when we go in the end of year tour, previously when we played Ireland and France and teams like that, we had a bit of a slow start because some of our players who were based in Japan hasn't really played a lot of rugby, and that's why this fixture was here. So you'll see the bulk of the guys. I think the only guy that's not been picked that probably could have been picked is Peter Steff, who plays in Japan. So we because we pick players from all over the world, we totally understand the logistics around the different protocols and different competitions. And when we start planning our season, we know that already. Like the Welsh Test match at the end of the year will also be a bit of a challenge because there's URC fixtures on for some of our franchises even on that specific weekend. So but on the other hand, it's also the positive that we still can put a pretty strong team out there. And guys like Eben is not playing, guys like Kanan is not playing, Damien Willems is not playing. There's a Faf is not even in this group because we want him to get some game time in the Japanese league because he would not have been in the mix for this specific game. So I can probably name quite a lot of more players, but I don't want to let it sound like I'm moaning. So no, we're fairly happy that this is what we wanted to try and achieve. Now the job is to try and go and win the match.
Thank you.
Thanks, hi, Rassie.
Hello.
I'm just carrying on about selection. You explained the Japanese players. Obviously, you have a massive game next week against France. This team has a sort of mix and match kind of look of it with a lot of players. Obviously, you finished the rugby championship, but then you've thrown in some other guys. Will you be looking for that sort of selection through the tour, or are you going to target certain games and really try and get your best 23 out for those games?
Well, I think for this specific game, barring one or two guys that's either not available through the suspension of Jan Hendrik and Damien Willems, who got a bit of a hamstring, which we think might be ready next weekend, so we didn't want to take a chance there. But no, we will pick every week a team that we think can win the game, and that's the most important thing. It doesn't help you keep rotating and you're losing matches. So we've slipped up twice this year. One within 7 points against New Zealand, that first test match, and the other one, we totally outplayed ourselves, and Australia beat us really well. So, I think continuity is obviously something that builds confidence, but then also, I wouldn't say everybody that's on tour here, we can guarantee that they will play this on this end of year tour because, playing the teams that we are playing, it's quite important that we keep momentum, and we'll definitely select every weekend a team that we think can win that specific match. But yes, the teams will change for sure. I mean, Evan is not in this team currently, and Thomas de Tooy will come in next week, Jan Hendrik will come into the mix. There's quite a Peter Steff will come into the mix. Kanan might come into the mix somewhere. Kirtley hasn't played for a while. Marco is obviously also one of our players that we really also find really rock solid in big test matches. So the teams will change, but always with the eye on trying to winning the match that's coming up.
Julia?
Afternoon, Rassie. Hello, Kirtley. Obviously, when you're playing Japan, it sparks memories of that 2015 World Cup game. Can you remember both where you were when you heard about the result and how it made you feel?
I think I can remember where I was. 100%. But we've played them since twice, one warm-up match and one quarter-final in, I think it was quarter-final, it was a playoff game in Japan. So that will always be one of the iconic wins for them, and that was well done. And like we ever first had a loss against Italy, I remember that match. I remember when we first lost to Wales, I was a player. We were playing at the Millennium Stadium. I can remember clearly where I was there because that Emmy Taylor, the centre, ran over me and he scored the winning try. So, those kind of things happen. It's we all have been part of history-making things. Australia beat us for the first time in a long time at Ellis Park. That wasn't a nice feeling. But if you dwell into the past, and I guess for Japan, that will always be one of their greatest moments. And obviously that will motivate them. But I don't think we, at this stage, when we're planning a game, we are analysing Japan and how well they played last weekend and how they're building under Eddie and what they're trying to do. And we always try to make plans and see how we can win the next match. But none of us can run away from how well they did. I was in my bar in if you want to know exactly, at home watching the game. I don't know if Kurtley can remember where he was.
I think I was at home in Paul. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Craig?
Afternoon, guys. Rassie, Chisholm can't be at fullback. I mean, I know obviously your hands a bit forced with the selection, David Williamson, but first time he's ever started at fullback. I'm sure he's played there, a few minutes here and there in games, but I'm talking about the Springboks. I'm sure he started there at club level. And Kurtley, just on that as well, maybe Rassie can talk about the selection, but you playing with him at fullback, it really does look like an exciting back three for this game with Chisholm there.
Yeah, sorry, Kurtley can answer that now how he feels. I think it was 2022 in Ireland. He started at fullback, if I'm correct. I think he started 2 games at fullback, and obviously, as you said, he's moved to fullback for us in games a lot. And obviously he's played in the French top league. He's played there fullback a lot. We could have probably moved Manuel 100 to 10 and Sasha to 15. Could have done that as well, but we feel a little bit of continuity with Sasha finding his feet at test match level and different oppositions. But having Kurtley back and Ethan playing well and Kanan really doing well, we've got the luxury of giving Cheslin a chance. Yeah. So.
Guys,
Hi everyone. I'm really excited to be back, and I think, like Coach Saras said now, it's not Cheslin's first time playing on fullback. I think we played against Ireland in 2022 in Avioto. He was the fullback. But looking forward to play with him. I think he's one of the best players, and it's just excited to be on the field again with him.
we can only take 2 more questions, guys. We're already over the 10 minutes. So, Francois and Morgan.
Dankie sien, net 'n vraag vir Kurtley. Ek weet julle nou klaar geantwoord jou tyd terug, maar net kan verduidelik half was 'n bietjie frustrerend om op die kantplek te sit en te kyk hoe die manne die rugby championship wen en nie 'n bydrae te lewer nie, en net hoe jouself te weer tot kwalifikasie te bring.
Ek sal sê 'n bietjie frustrerend, maar ek dink beserings gebeur mos maar in die sport. Ek het actually een kan geniet ook, want ek kon 'n bietjie goedjies doen by die huis, en ek dink sommige kere is dit goed om net 'n wegbreek te vat van die game van rugby af, maar ek is ook bly vir die manne wat geleenthede gekry het. Obviously jy wil deel wees van die groep en die span, maar vir my, ek sien dit as dit was 'n goeie wegbreek gewees, maar net bly om weer terug te wees in die groep.
Last question, Morgan.
Thanks, hi Rassie, how's it Kurtley? Rassie, just to go back to Zach, I mean, the kid is 21 years old, tight prop, that's a big deal. What was his reaction when you broke the news to him that he's going to be making his Springbok debut at Wembley in iconic place against Japan?
I don't know personally, know him that well, but a guy like Don has worked a lot with him. He's come through our EPD structures, and whenever you talk to Dave or to the guys that's coached him before, and with Don who's worked with him before, and then what I've seen from him whenever he gets the opportunity for the Stormers, he's obviously a nice natural athlete. So his reaction was like, we played Kanan Moody when he was 18 against Australia away from home, and he scored the match-winning try against Corambetti after we lost the first test match. Guy like Ethan is 22. There's a couple of guys who at young ages, but rightly so, but you're asking from a front row player. I think Ollie Leroux was 20 when he made his debut. I think Osdurant was quite young when he did it as well. But he's a tight head, and that's a bit different. So, as I say, I don't know him personally, as I haven't coached him a lot and worked with him a lot. Probably spoke 100 words to him in total, but he understands why we're starting him and with who are we starting him. He's understanding it, and luckily with a guy like Dave Wessels running our whole high-performance program, we're pretty much in sync what Kevin and the guys are doing at the other different levels. And so luckily a lot of our coaches has worked with him, and he seems to be quite level-headed with it, and obviously excited, and he will be nervous, but that's why there's a team around him for him to have the best chance of performing.
Zane, last question, you can switch off online.
Sure. Rassie, this week, any exceptional. And he says the lovely thing about playing against you is he gets a bottle of red wine afterwards. So my question is, what do you expect from Eddie this weekend, and will there be a bottle of red at the end?
No, you know, Eddie, my first interactions with Eddie when I was with the 2007 World Cup team before they were going to leave, and I was working with them, and then I got the Stormers job, and then Eddie took over from me. I was about 3 or 4 matches with them and a training camp in Cape Town. And that was the first time we really started exchanging rugby talk and so on. And I know a lot have been said about, you know, Eddie is a guy that speaks his mind, and I enjoy people who do those kind of things. And he was the one of the guys when I got that ban that you know, he picked up the phone and phoned me and you know, supported sort of, and told me in so many words that, you know, don't do stupid things, but you know, he understands why and how, and I always have a lot of respect for him, and I think people always try to build up a thing between coaches, but he's one of the coaches I really respect, and yeah, we have a bottle of wine, but we only give that when we're winning. So if he wants it, he must let us win.
Thank you.